2 retrogrades, 1 shakeup. Here's how early to mid-March is going to play out for all of the signs, starting with Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and Cancer in this video. Aries rising, Venus retrograde in the first house. This is going to hit close to home. Right now there's this bubbling sense of power in you. Your ruler Mars is finally moving forward again, but you've spent months wading through this 12th house sludge, facing everything that stood in your way, including yourself. Old fears, unconscious patterns, self-sabotage, it's all been dragged to light. And now you are finally close to a real path of victory, Aries. But first we've got to clear away the weeds. Though I'm sure you're about to rethink your entire look, this retrograde is about more than appearance. This one goes a little deeper. It's about taking stock in who you are and who you've been, what you actually want to become. I get a sense of limbo energy here. You are searching and rewriting your history here. Meanwhile, Saturn and the North Node have been in the background in Pisces in your 12th house. They've been putting you through a process of redefining your entire worldview. The dreams that you've carried in secret, some of the ones you may have been afraid to say out loud, they're not so impossible anymore. As Saturn gets ready to move into your sign in May, he's not here to crush you. He's helped you to build the damn thing for real. This is a major self-reinvention arc, Aries, the kind where you either decide who you are or the world decides for you. And that's very much the point. The delays, the identity crises, that sense that something bigger is trying to break through, that's the point. Here's the big takeaway. This is the moment where you clear out that old self-sabotage and you step into the version of you that's actually ready to win. Don't rush the process. I know you hate waiting, Aries, but you have to let it breathe, let it cultivate, let it grow like a garden. This retrograde is sharpening you for the next real fight, the one where you're finally proving yourself to yourself as Saturn enters Aries in May. But that is going to be such a pivotal and priceless time period where you set yourself up for the lasting foundations of success. And now we have Taurus rising, those who have Venus retrograde in the 12th house. Taurus risings, this retrograde is going to pull you inward, deep into the hidden corners of yourself, where old fears, unspoken dreams, and unresolved stories live and thrive. With your chart ruler, Venus, stuck in the 12th house in retrograde, you can definitely expect some frustrating delays. They're the kind that may even force reflection instead of reaction. You'll be made very aware of the limits that reality puts on you, and also the limits you may be putting on yourself. And even though this movement towards reflection is the point of this moment for you, it can feel a little isolating. But solitude is not the enemy here. In fact, solitude might become your greatest tool right now. An approach with intention becomes a beautiful kind of retreat, not a loneliness. A chance to reimagine who you are and who you want to become. A chance to really hear yourself, Taurus. And some of you may see some hidden enemies come to light, but more importantly, you'll face the parts of yourself that sabotage your attempts at success. That turns this into a period of inner reinvention, and it might not show on the surface yet, but inside, you are forging an entirely new worldview, a new personal philosophy, one built on what actually inspires you. Not based on trends, what others expect, but what lights a fire in your soul. In this process, let Venus guide you, not just into more hard questions, but also into beauty. Even in reflection, there's room for joy, for sweetness, for moments that remind you why life is worth falling in love with again. It's an inner reset, Taurus, spiritual housekeeping. And if you let yourself go all the way in, you'll emerge with something rare, authentic self-knowledge, and a sense of beauty that is all your own. And now we move on to Gemini rising with Venus retrograde in the 11th house. So, of course, this is in your 11th house, a place of friends, communities, investments even, definitely social groups. And it's really not just about who you hang out with, but it's like, why do you even want to be part of certain groups? This is a deep audit of your social life and your larger ambitions. Do your relationships fuel your desires? Or are you just performing someone else's script? With Venus and Mercury both retrograde here, bringing up things from the past, you can expect old alliances to resurface. Friends from the past, collaborators, old projects you thought were dead in the water. But after that hit of nostalgia, we have to see what actually fits the vision of the future. The harder truth? Some friends, some connections, some groups, they may start feeling like more of a cage than a connection. Especially the ones you build around image, status, and convenience. Aries energy demands authenticity, and Venus retrograde is going to force it. It will not let you fake it. If a friend group doesn't match your evolving values, expect cracks to show. And it might get a little messy. Listen, that's part of the process here, okay? That's right on time. Meanwhile, your 10th house of career and reputation has Saturn in the North Node moving through it, putting a quite but serious pressure on your purpose. So it's more than your social life. It's your sense of success itself. Like, what do you want to be known for? And who do you want to be standing next to you when you get there? Even if it means walking away from circles you once relied on, she's gonna make you ask, and she's gonna make you deal with it authentically. Just get ready for it. Just accept it. And that may sound a little more harsh than that meaning. A lot of friendships are going to be reinvigorated. It's not going to just be bad stuff. And the stuff that you walk away from, that's going to make room for better friendships, for better relationships and social circles. And so relationships coming out of this are going to be built to last, built to support you. So this is ultimately an empowering process that's going to bring more richness to your life. And here's Venus retrograde in Cancer. Sorry I don't have that little graph for you. Here's the moon. With Venus retrograde moving through your 10th house of career, public standing, and reputation. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Between you and Libra, I'm not sure who is hit harder. So from the 10th house, Venus and Libra send an overcoming square to your rising sign. It's called domination in traditional astrology. In plain English, that means this external pressure that you've been feeling, it has the upper hand. It's not going to lose the upper hand. It's going to force internal change. Sadly, that is the point here. Everything from the direction of your career, to the career itself, to your public identity, it's all up for revision. So we have to think about legacy. What do you want to be known for? What do you actually want to do? Who do you want to do it with you? Is this chasing approval, or is it chasing passion? Are you performing your purpose, or just acting out a role that someone else gave you? This retrograde won't let you stay in autopilot. Old career paths might reopen, past mistakes could resurface, and public perception may shift in ways that force you to get clear about who you really are and how you're actually seen. Even if you've avoided it until now, this is a moment where you have to begin to define your public reputation, or let someone else define it for you. And of course, that's only part of the story. Saturn and the North Node are stirring up your 9th house, bringing up questions of belief, ideals, principles, meaning, and purpose. What do you stand for? What higher truth are you actually willing to commit to? There might be a crisis of faith, whether that's religious, academic, or more like a personal just belief in your own path and what you're doing right now. Of course, what you believe about life is going to shape what you do next. And Saturn is here demanding that you walk your talk, especially as he gets ready to move into your 10th house. The good news is that Mars, the ruler of your career, is finally moving forward in your 1st house. You're not powerless at all here. You're actually fired up and ready to fight for your place in the world. The delays, the doubts, the identity crisis, that's all leading up to this moment where you choose your heart. You choose the path that is brave and committed to what you actually want to do over the easy, comfortable one. So the big takeaway is this is your moment to finally stop worrying about the world thinks so much. You can really step into becoming the kind of person that you can respect. Public image, career, reputation, all that changes when you respect yourself enough to choose your own destiny. Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio tomorrow. Wild astrology coming up this March. This guy's really pulling us back before it lets us go forward. Right now I'm going to cover Leo, Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio and what you can expect from this month. Leo risings. If you've got big travel plans up ahead, brace yourself. This is no ordinary trip. Delays, reroutes, revelations, all part of the itinerary. This may end up feeling a little bit like the Odyssey to you. And of course, travel is only the surface. What's really happening is a spiritual and intellectual recalibration. This will be a time of radical questioning for you. It will bring you either to the classroom, halfway across the globe, even to deep late-night existential spirals, maybe all three. You're meant to ask, what do you believe in right now? What truths shape your choices? Are they even yours? Are you chasing the exotic, the unfamiliar, the fantasy of something out there just to avoid facing what's in you? This retrograde is sort of like a personal hero's journey for you. It's going to force you out into the world, not just to discover the unknown, but to discover yourself through it. Expect many dazzling mirages, all of them here to force you to ask, what am I? Who am I? What am I actually doing? And I know it hasn't been easy lately. Support from others, if it's come at all, has come with strings attached, but that is about to change. As you begin to build your own strength and sovereignty, help will arrive without the caveats. Saturn's shift into Aries in your 8th house is about to start clearing out your debts, both literal and energetic. Frees you up to receive support that actually serves you. Overall, this feels like a milestone in a significant and long-reaching journey for you, one that is ultimately about discovery and truth. You're redefining what adventure means, not just a flight to a new place, but the kind of adventure where you confront your dreams, desires, fears, beliefs, and you come back home to yourself, all the better for it, with something real to show. Next up, we have our soldiers from the past year, Virgo, with Venus retrograde in your 8th house, not to mention Mercury. Virgo, you've been stretched to your absolute limits this year. Jupiter's forced expansion has dragged you out of every comfort zone you had left. And Saturn, he's been holding you to impossibly high standards. And here's the truth. Even though you probably feel like you're in the crucible right now, you are not just suffering and burning up for no reason. You are making gold. So first up, this retrograde shines a harsh but necessary light on the 8th house, on shared projects, shared money, shared power. The 8th house is, of course, where your resources entangle with others. Whether it's a band fund, a marriage budget, or creative collaborations that demand both vision and compromise. This is a time to review, revise, and renegotiate. Not just the terms, but the truths underneath them. What do you want out of this? What are you actually willing to invest, and what are you no longer willing to put up with? Luckily, planning is your superpower, Virgo. And right now, a plan is exactly what's needed. Virgo, you are so necessary right now. Your voice is needed. Whether you're drawing up new creative contracts, reworking financial agreements, or plotting a way forward in a partnership, your voice of reason is essential right now. Even if you're not 100% right, rare but possible, you're the one who sees the whole map. Everyone else is stuck on a single turn. So please don't underestimate the alchemy of this moment, Virgo. You're not just reorganizing spreadsheets or settling debts. You're laying the groundwork for the life you actually want to live. Saturn has been training you for this, to know your worth, to demand your worth, accept nothing less. And Venus is here to help achieve this goal. Your goal is coming, Virgo, because you're the one brave enough to forge it. And now we have Libras, with Venus retrograde in the 7th house. The pressure's back on, Libra. Mars has finally gone forward, but that does not mean life is suddenly easy. Forward motion is happening, slowly, but the obstacles that have been torturing you all year are only just now getting moved out of the way. In the meantime, your job is clear. Harness your inner fire and push. This isn't a time for grace and compromise. This is a time for grit. The center of all is Venus, your ruler, backtracking through your 7th house of relationships and enemies. If you've been leaning on others to steer the ship, that's over. This retrograde demands that you take the lead. And with Venus and Aries in detriment and opposing you, you're not exactly getting the resources you need right now. You're going to have to get scrappy, frugal, and inventive. All things that detriment energy is known for. People may be very disappointing right now, even the ones you thought were solid, but that doesn't mean you just throw in the towel. It means you show grace where you can and build self-reliance where you must. Relationships thrive when both sides stand on their own, and right now you need to stand tall. When others finally do show up to help, Libra, it will be because you left them the space to do so. And Mercury retrograde only adds to the chaos, especially in your social circles. Communication breakdowns, travel issues, messy logistics are all on the table. What starts as external drama might end up sliding into your 6th house of health by the end of the month too. So watch for stress turning into physical symptoms. If you can delay travel plans, do it. This is not the time to travel, Libra. You are not well set to travel right now. Do not do it. Your 9th house ruler is in seriously bad shape. A clear sign that journeys, literal and metaphorical, won't go as planned. Please don't. Jupiter does offer a faint light at the end of the tunnel, trining your rising from the 9th. And this isn't new. You've been working with this since Jupiter went direct in early January. But the difference is, now you've been tested and proven yourself. Maybe not to the world yet, but to you. That quiet inner sense of kingship, that belief in your own strength, that is the real prize that Jupiter is bringing here. And with that in your pocket, success has no choice but to follow. There's also some weird interference this month. Saturn, your triplicity ruler, is ready to reward past hard work, sometimes in unexpected ways. A favor repaid, a door opened out of nowhere. But the Sun, your fall lord, is meddling in the background thanks to this Libra, Pisces, and Tisha link, which is a concept in traditional astrology that relates two specific signs together, in this case Libra and Pisces. It implies something behind the scenes. They're called shadow degrees by ancient astrologers. Authority figures, bosses, elders, really anyone with power over you is represented by the Sun, may pull frustrating stunts directly blocking your personal plans. And of course, that Aries energy is going to tempt you to full retaliation. You cannot take the bait. Retrograde mistakes have a nasty habit of turning up again and again and again. Instead, you have to lean on your network, work your connections, find the hidden path forward, one is only visible to someone with your Libra eye for patterns and people. Despite the temptation, the power you need is not in confrontation, it's in coordination. But balance is not the primary goal this month, Libra. It's strategy. And now we have Scorpio rising, with Venus and Mercury going retrograde through your 6th house. Big moves are finally on the table, Scorpio. Mars, your ruler, is finally gone direct in the 9th house, giving you the green light to begin a journey you've been dreaming about for maybe a year, maybe even longer at this point. And this is about more than wanderlust. It's about escaping environments that no longer meet your needs, stepping forward into a future of your own design. You know exactly how hard this road will be, but you don't care. You are ready to step forward into a future that actually fits who you are becoming. But this is about a lot more than travel. It's about daily life transforming from the ground up. Where there's retrograde occurring in your 6th house, that's service, health, routines, work. Expect news or realizations that force you to rethink how you care for yourself, your body, your schedule, your work patterns. The ways that you've been showing up for others and not yourself is under review. You're about to decide that you're done settling. Maybe this comes through literal relocation, forcing you to rebuild your daily rhythm from scratch. Or maybe it's health news, something that forces your hand with long overdue changes in how you take care of your physical body. Either way, the message is clear. You deserve better. You're finally getting ready to fight for it. And Jupiter is still grinding through your 8th house, tying this whole process to collaborations and shared resources. Maybe you're leaving behind a work partnership that no longer feeds you. Maybe you're diving into a group project that demands a healthier, stronger version of you. Either way, your well-being is now non-negotiable. And this shift isn't just about diet plans and things like that. This is about embodying a deep scorpionic alchemy where self-respect becomes the fuel that powers your dreams. The more you respect your body, your time, your energy, the clearer your path becomes. Goals are no longer being chased, they're being embodied. This is a turning point and you can definitely feel it, like an inner fire has been reignited. Once you start honoring yourself the way you deserve, there is no stopping you. Tomorrow we have Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. Alright, listen up. Here's how the upcoming double retrogrades are going to affect Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. That's in early to mid-March and going forward. So first up is Sagittarius. I'm going to start with the bigger picture for you. This retrograde is about pulling you into the heart of your joy, just not in the way that you would expect. With Venus and Mercury going retrograde in your 5th house in Aries, it's not just about fun, romance, and creativity. It's more so about taking personal ownership of your joy. If you've been waiting on someone else to entertain you, inspire you, or make life interesting for you, that is about to end. Aries is here demanding that you reclaim your ability to make life interesting, to reignite your fire, to take control of your own passions and creative life, and your ability to make life thrilling on your own terms. Aries makes it ultimately about self-empowerment through joy. And thanks to your ruler Jupiter spending the whole year in Gemini, the sign of details and duality, well, you're approaching this whole retrograde with a much sharper eye than usual. And Venus is in charge of your 6th house, meaning this retro is all about breaking down how your daily habits set you up for either success or more disappointment. But right now she's in the 5th house, demanding some type of pleasure. But she doesn't stop there. She goes all the way back into the 4th house, the roots of your chart, the foundation of your soul, the ground that your entire life stands on. This is going deep. It's going to rebuild your entire world. As Venus returns to the renewing waters of Pisces, her exaltation, you're going to be asked to commit to actual, real self-love. The kind that restores your foundation, making you feel at home in your own life and skin. Because let's be honest, the last year for you has absolutely been a grind with several disappointments. While your ruler Jupiter is in Gemini, that's a detriment. That means you've been operating without your usual luck and ease. Maybe you've even wondered if you deserve some of these setbacks, if life is punishing you for some unseen sin. And on top of that, your beliefs, which form the foundation of your legendary optimism, have likely been shaken up. No wonder you might have felt disconnected from your spark. And that is exactly why this retrograde matters. It is about reclaiming your birthright to joy. Sagittarius, if you don't have joy, if you can't lead us to joy, who can? Not for achievement, not for productivity, some goal, not for anyone else's approval. Just for yourself, because you want it. just because it feeds your spirit. The question for you isn't what should I do? It's what do I actually love? And you may be surprised to find that some of the answers have shifted over time. This is a turning point, Sag. Venus teaches you what makes life worth living, and Mars teaches you what's worth fighting for. You're relearning your own value. And when Jupiter enters exaltation later this year in Cancer, well, that self-knowledge is going to open the floodgates for blessings for you. It's time to focus on relearning joy, to focus on the journey as the cliche goes. Sagittarius, it is time to laugh yourself back to life. And now we have Capricorn rising, with Venus and Mercury going retrograde in your 4th house of home, family, and foundations, and real estate. Right from the start, this Venus retrograde has you torn between work and home, duty and personal life, ambition and rest, or the lack thereof. So Venus rules your 10th house of career and public reputation, and right now she's backpedaling through your 4th house of home, family matters, and emotional foundations. With it being Aries, this is not a gentle interior redesign. This is emergency relocation energy, a retreat to regroup. If this is something like very literal, it could be someone literally just going to crash with their sister from their house after a plan didn't work out for moving in somewhere. And it's not just inconvenient. With Chiron, the wounded healer in Aries, it stings. It's going to bring up old wounds too, particularly around home and safety. But this is not failure, it's more like a recon mission. Venus is heading back into Pisces, her exaltation, and she's meeting up with your ruler Saturn. So that looks like a second chance, a critical missing piece of insight, maybe a big download into what success could actually look like for you. Most people forget this, but Capricorn intuition is razor sharp when you let yourself trust it. Right now, you do need that edge. Because the hard truth is, irrational facts are not at all available to you, Capricorn. There's a reason for this. You're being asked to build inner certainty. Trust your gut and your guiding principles more than external data. And that's the 3rd house, the house of the goddess in traditional astrology in Pisces for you. Path forward is not a spreadsheet, it's a feeling. And let's talk about Mars, your exalt lord. So he finally went direct, and he's opposing you from Cancer, your 7th house of relationships and enemies. Yeah, this is grindstone energy, and it can be personal. Whether it's a literal person standing in your way or just the overwhelming weight of relational obligations. External demands are pulling at you while you're already engaged in this internal house cleaning. It is pressure from both sides, Capricorn, but listen, you know how to work under pressure. You were built for this. So don't succumb to fear. Instead, choose fortification. Because like I said earlier, this is a recon mission. It's a sort of look ahead. Your ruler Saturn is about to enter Aries. That means he's in his detriment. Your resources, both inner and outer, are going to be tested here. And you're already prepping for that, I'm sure. That's good because Venus is scouting ahead into Aries, making sure you actually care about what you're about to be fighting for, what you're about to be spending all this time and energy for. Capricorn, this is your chance to cultivate unshakable conviction. You're building conviction in your own authority. All right, next we have Aquarius. Hello. That's Venus retrograde in the 3rd house. And I'm thinking about that Smith's line, nature is a language, can't you read? Aquarius, you've been working your ass off and none of it has been straightforward. Every opportunity has come with strings attached. And even with Jupiter in your 5th house trying his best to keep you entertained, that fallen status means the fun to bullshit ratio is not in your favor. So when Venus slams the brakes and starts reversing through your 3rd house, it is right on schedule. This is a system check on your survival toolkit. The practical skills, communication habits, the daily routines that shape how you actually live. And as Venus heads back towards your ruler Saturn in the 2nd house, it's really not about making money as much as what lifestyle do you actually want to live? What are we even working towards here? Is this job worth it? Maybe I should put all my effort into this new side hustle. And do you even allow yourself to want more yet? Are you still under this unspoken belief that suffering equals virtue? These are 2nd house value system upgrades, and Venus is not going to let you skip the homework here, Aquarius. While we're talking reality checks, let's talk about your health. Your 6th house has been pretty active lately. You've gotten some wake-up calls from it. And even if you don't have the energy to do a full lifestyle overhaul right now, ignoring this would be a huge mistake. Preventative care is so much cheaper than anything else. Money, time, suffering, all of it. So any progress counts. It really doesn't have to be perfect, but a start has to be made. But the real focus here is words. Venus is highlighting communication issues, and Mercury following right after just emphasizes it. Is there something you need to say, or do you just not know how to say it? And that makes sense. In this world, how you say it matters a whole lot more than what you have to say. A fact that probably drives you insane. Here's the thing. If you want your ideas to actually land, you have to put on your scientist hat, Observe yourself in the wild. Like, how do you talk and how do people react? Is the message getting through, or are you just winning arguments that no one even asked for? If there is energy hovering all over this, the temptation to just blast people with raw, unfiltered truth is real, but ineffective. You will catch more flies with honey, but of course you're not here to catch flies. You're here to transmit brilliance that people haven't even considered before in a way they can actually perceive. Because our ideas are good, Aqua. Let's not pretend they aren't. But if you care enough about them to birth them into this world, then you owe it to yourself to translate them properly. Only a coward would ask you to dull your edge, Aqua. We just have to aim better. And now we have Pisces with this retrograde occurring in your second house. Pisces, something is coming and you can feel it, like a signal flare in the mist, calling you back to yourself. And if you're honest, you've been trudging through that swamp water for a while now with Saturn here. Bet you barely remember what dry land feels like. But something's changed lately. Maybe it's Saturn's presence hardening your spirit. Maybe it's that faint glowing light you caught out of the corner of your eye. The one that shows up only when you've hit the bottom so hard you've cracked open your soul. Pisces, the last 2 years have defined you. They've cut you down to the bone and make you meet yourself in that raw silence underneath all the dreaming. But now if you don't know which direction to walk, that is not Saturn's fault. That means you've still been avoiding your own voice. It is not too late to listen. Stop trying to rise above your life and instead sink into it. Saturn's lessons are brutal, but they are priceless, and if you don't claim them, he won't be around anytime soon. So now that we've got direction, this double retrograde is like a reset button on our lifestyle, a reset button on how we breathe. Reconsider how you move, how you live, what you pay attention to, and focus on that moving forward because this summer is going to be so amazing for you, Pisces. We just have to build a space for all this beautiful stuff to land. The Neptunian fog is lifting. And yes, the dark edges of reality will show themselves first. But that is your Saturnian foundation being revealed. Stand on it. It's asking you to treat gratitude like a duty. Let it humble you before the breathing world. See the love in everything you do, and then walk forward, too full of faith to feel fear. And when Saturn leaves, you won't just have dreams. You'll have tools. You'll have conviction. You'll already be doing the thing, sweating for it, living it, loving it. When some people around you try to warn you or talk you down from your visions because they can't see what you see, do not listen to them. The world needs Pisces right now. They need to get out of your way because this world is running out of meaning, and meaning is your domain. Do not ask them for permission. They may be scared, but they don't have Jupiter's blessings like you do. That's all you're going to need.